Welcome to my next UFC predictions video as we have UFC 310 next Saturday night. Just getting my predictions for the main card. And remember, as always, that the card is subject to changes. Actually had a lot of changes already since the card was announced. But before I give my predictions on the main card of UFC 310, just want to cover a few things. First, if you're a fan of the UFC and you like prediction videos as well as reaction videos and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please consider hammer fisting that like button, otherwise known as the thumbs up button. Share the video with a friend that likes UFC prediction videos, reaction videos, or anything else related to MMA. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms, such as your own YouTube channel, your X account, your Instagram account, your Facebook account, TikTok, if you can post something on TikTok, email a friend, whatever you can do. Send a letter in the mail with the link to this video. Please do that to help out the channel. And of course, make sure that you sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on my predictions for UFC 310. But not just my predictions. I obviously want to hear your thoughts, your predictions on UFC 310, any future fights that you want to see, and any future fight predictions. And remember, I react to fights as well. All the fights on the main card I'll react to, even if a fight gets put on the main card that currently isn't on the main card. So make sure you come back to the channel about an hour after the main card is over with for my first reaction to UFC 310. Now with this card, I think I might, and it's not a guarantee, but chances are I'll probably post my reaction to the co-main event, unless the co-main event is not that exciting of a fight. Just because the main event I'm not as familiar with Pantoja. Well, I know Pantoja, but Asakura I'm not familiar with, so I might not be as thrilled with that. I don't know, but I'm just warning you, if you're looking for my main event reaction, it might not be the first reaction that I post. Of course, videos can get a copyright claim, which means I can still post it, but it'll be private for 48 hours from the time that I upload it. So if that happens, if there's a fight that doesn't get posted right away and you're wondering why I haven't posted it yet, there's a copyright claim and I'll get it posted as soon as I can, but I have to dispute it, which takes 48 hours from the time that I dispute it. So just keep all that stuff in mind. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV. So I must say that UFC 310 is really stacked on the bottom with like the prelims. You've got the main event of the prelims, Anthony Lionheart-Smith versus Dominic Reyes. You've got Chris Weidman and Eric Anders on the early prelims. You've got Mosfar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling that got put on the prelims. So there's some good prelim matches. Randy Brown versus Brian Battle. So I am excited for the prelims, and I might try to view the prelims, but I don't think I'll react to them. But you never know. Maybe I'll do something special where I start a membership on the channel where you can view my reactions to the prelims for a price of like $5 per month. But I'm not committing to that yet. But anyway, let's start off my predictions for the main card. In the featherweight division, a fight that I'm really looking forward to once I found out was happening. Nate Landwehr versus one of my favorite fighters of all time, Doo Ho Choi. I'm still riding the high of the fight between Doo Ho Choi versus Cub Swanson, in a fight that Doo Ho Choi lost. But I just really like Doo Ho Choi from that moment. And I just happened to catch a bunch of fights of his previous to that I really started liking Doo Ho Choi. Now, Nate Landwehr in this fight is probably going to push the pace, where Doo Ho Choi is going to be a little bit more tactical and a little bit more less, I should say, a little less aggressive, looking for that one shot, that precision punching that he does. I think this is going to be a really close fight. In fact, it very well may be the fight of the night. We shall see. Now, currently, Nate Landwehr is a slight favorite to beat Doo Ho Choi. He's really good with strikes. He's going to strike you. He's going to throw a lot of shit at you. And occasionally, he'll throw a takedown to kind of change the pace. You know, not a lot, but he can throw, a couple takedowns here. Where Doo Ho Choi is going to, like I said, he's going to look for that one shot, maybe that one combination. If Doo Ho Choi can be a little bit more aggressive, this could be a very interesting fight. I'm actually going to pick Doo Ho Choi to win. I think he's a really good fighter. Nate Landwehr is really good. He's really entertaining, especially that fight he had with David Onama. That was a pretty big war. But I'm actually going to go against the betting odds, and I'm going to pick Doo Ho Choi to win this fight. But keep in mind, it could go in a completely different direction, and I'm probably picking based on my favoritism towards Doo Ho Choi. I don't think I've ever actually given a prediction to a Doo Ho Choi fight before because it's been a while since he's been on a main card. So I am picking Doo Ho Choi to win that contest. And then in the featherweight division, in my opinion, a fight that doesn't deserve to be on the main card, you have Kron Gracie versus Bryce Mitchell. Of course, Bryce Mitchell is coming off of that fight against Josh Emmett where he got knocked the fuck out and then started going into convulsions, like a seizure on the mat of the octagon. So that was a scary moment, and my reaction to that fight is on the channel. So just look for that. It was like UFC 296, I want to say, because Duplessis versus Strickland was 297, so I'm pretty sure that was 296. So if you type UFC 296 JWTV, you'll be able to find my reaction to Bryce Mitchell versus Josh Emmett. Kron Gracie, I mean, he hasn't been very impressive. He doesn't fight a lot. I'm shocked that this is a fight on the main card. I think Aljamain Sterling and Mosfar should be on the main card, and this should be on the prelim. No offense to Bryce Mitchell, but Kron Gracie just isn't, I'm not impressed. So I do think that Bryce Mitchell will win this fight. He's a pretty big favorite right now. Of course, anything can happen, and that's why they have the fights. Bryce Mitchell is really good at grappling. He's got some sneaky good strikes, but mainly he's going to try to do grappling and take Kron Gracie down. Of course, Kron Gracie, the jiu-jitsu of the Gracie family, might be helpful to him, but I just don't think he's going to beat Bryce Mitchell, and hopefully Bryce Mitchell has completely healed from that knockout against Josh Emmett. So I am picking Bryce Mitchell to win the fight. And then in the heavyweight division, we have Cyril Gane versus Alexander Volkov in a fight. It's going to be an interesting fight. They've already fought before, actually. Cyril Gane is really good at striking. He's really good with movement. He's really fast for a heavyweight, a guy that's 250 pounds and moves around like he's essentially a light heavyweight or even a middleweight. I think Volkov is a really sneaky good heavyweight. And I don't think the heavyweight division is very good. You've got, of course, the GOAT, John Jones. You've got Tom Aspinall. After that, Gane and Volkov might be the two best. And then, like, the rest of the guys, a lot of them are blobs, and I don't like the heavyweight division. They need to really focus on getting more heavyweights in the UFC that are, not blobs. Not that blobs aren't good, but the guys that are in better shape seem to be doing better these days in the heavyweight division. So in this contest, I mean, it's going to be mostly striking. Volkov has looked really good since his loss to Tom Aspinall. Gane, he beat, a bunch of guys. He lost to John Jones, and then he came back and beat Sergey Spivak, Spivak. He's been tagged before by Tai Tuivasa, and Volkov handled him pretty easily and finished him with an Ezekiel choke. So in this fight currently right now, you have Cyril Gane as the favorite. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Volkov beats Cyril Gane, especially if he's more aggressive. If he can implement some wrestling, which he doesn't normally do, but if he can implement some wrestling, like some takedowns, because we've seen Gane doesn't have an answer for wrestling yet. It didn't work against John Jones. It didn't work against Francis Ngannou and then John Jones. So if he can do some really good wrestling and get him down. Now, he did look good against Spivak, but that's Spivak, which he's a really good grappler, but he didn't do good against Cyril Gane. I'm picking Volkov to win. I know that's a weird pick. I just am really impressed with Volkov. I mean, he's only had a few losses. I mean, that one, he was winning, and then Derek Lewis knocked him out at the end of the fight. And then, of course, his balls was hot. I just think Volkov is going to get the job done. He's really good at, he spreads out the strikes, the legs, the body, and the head. And I think he's a more improved fighter since his last fight with Gane. So I'm going with Volkov to win, and that's my personal opinion. And then next up in the co-main event of the evening in the UFC welterweight division, a 5-round fight, number 1 contender fight between Shavkat Rakhmonov and Ian Machado Gary. Now, right now, Rakhmonov is the favorite in this fight. They're both undefeated fighters. I don't think Ian Machado Gary looked very impressive against Michael Venom Page. He didn't do a lot to win the fight. Rachmanov has finished all of his fighters. He's really well-rounded in terms of striking, grappling, wrestling. I don't necessarily know if he's been tested that well. I mean, he had fights against Jeff Neal, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, but he did pretty well against them. Although Neal had some moments. This fight's it's a hard one to pick because I don't want to underestimate Ian Machado Gary. But I've seen the last couple fights that I've seen him in, which was a fight he had against Jeff Neal and the fight against Michael Venom Page, he's been less impressive than Shavkat Rakhmonov, where, I mean, Machado Gary looked amazing against Neil Magny. He was just, every leg kick early on knocked Neil Magny down. So I don't know if that was just Neil Magny just wasn't ready for that fight or what. So in this one, I'm going to pick Shavkat Rakhmonov to win the fight. He's got a little bit less height advantage, and he doesn't have a reach advantage, but I just feel like he's going to get the job done. However he wants to do it, I think he's going to do it, but who knows? Maybe this will be an all-time classic. It has the markings. I mean, you got 2 undefeated fighters here, so you don't know. But I am going to go with Shavkat Rakhmonov to beat Ian Machado Gary. And then in our main event of the evening for the UFC Flyweight Championship, you have the champion, Alexandre Pantoja, versus the newcomer to the UFC that I've never seen fight before, Kai Asakura. I watched a highlight reel thing on Asakura, but it doesn't show like a whole fight, so I'm not familiar with him at all. From what I've seen, he's wild. He throws a lot of good punches, but he's got holes in his game. I don't know what his takedown defense is. I didn't see an actual fight. I can't look at like the statistics in a fight when I go to ESPN. And of course, we know how great Alexandre Pantoja is. Of course, we do know what happened in that fight against Steve Ercik at UFC 301, which that's a fight I have yet to watch. That card I did not watch. That's one of the few cards I've missed in the last 6 to 7 years. But a lot of people say Ercik won, and I'm not going to disagree, but I haven't watched the fight yet. But Pantoja is really good. He's really solid in every area. And Asakura, he just apparently is a wild striker. So based on the fact that Pantoja has the ability to take people down at a really high rate and how crazy he is and how good his chin is, I'm going to go with Alexandre Pantoja. But since I'm very unfamiliar with Kai Asakura, it's very possible that I might do a parlay on this card, which I don't bet on fights, but the main event, and then I'm picking Volkov to beat Cyril Gane, and of course I'm picking Doo Ho Choi to beat Nate Landwehr. I might do that just off of a hunch, but I'm still going with Pantoja to win just due to the fact that I don't think Asakura has good wrestling defense, but I don't necessarily know because it's not in his highlights and I can't look at the stats for the fights that he's already had. So those are my predictions for UFC 310. Again, make sure that you hammer fist that like button, otherwise known as the thumbs up button. Share the video with a friend. Put this video on your Facebook. Put this video on your YouTube channel. Put this video on your X. Put this video on your TikTok. Put this video in an email and send it to a bunch of people. Put it on MySpace. Put it on everywhere. Just make sure you get the video out there. Of course, let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Who you got winning these fights? Tell me how crazy I am with my predictions. Any fights that you want to see or any future fight predictions that you have. Who's the fighter of the year? Is it Alex Pereira or is it Ilia Topuria? It's an argument to be had. And of course, last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, share your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.